At this point, we all know how cringy red pill content creators can be, and 9 times out of 10, when we say those words red pill, we often associate it with the men and the manosphere and just young men being affected by these content creators. But oftentimes we don't look at the opposite side of the spectrum. Now, we've mentioned before that there's a female version of the red pill, but we don't talk about it quite often because I think it's actually more subtle and subdued than the manosphere and the man red pill content.
I heard that you don't know how to get spoiled by a man. I know that you guys need my help. That's why I'm here. See, how men are is competitive. They're very competitive. So if you tell a man that your friend is being taken care like this, then their competitive nature comes up and they're like, okay, this is what I'm competing with.
But while I was at DreamCon, Abba and Preach dropped what is probably the Andrew Tate equivalent on the women's side, their video on a person called the Wizard Liz. Now, I know many of you might be asking, well, who is the Wizard Liz? And why would Omar say that she's a red pill content creator for women? Well,
2023 is about to come and we are gonna get confident right now, right here. When you find the clown shoes, I want you to take them and put them on because that's what you are. That's literally what you are. You're just a clown. Stop doubting yourself. I'm proud of you. Realize that nobody cares if you're lazy. Listen, my love, I am sick and tired of you. Are you not tired of being overlooked? Are you not tired of walking somewhere and literally no one looks at you because you are just plain? You're just average. You're one of the average people. I will in this video show you how to stop being ugly. I'm not saying any of you are ugly. I'm just saying stop being ugly.
yeah. That's her. 26-year-old life coach with 8 million subscribers, but she's recently been caught up in a scandal. She got engaged to a man within 7 months, and she was 4 months pregnant, but then she ultimately gets cheated on. Now, we've seen this happen in the red pill community before, and we know how this could end. Funniest thing about red pill content creators, and now we're going to discuss how it doesn't just exist on the man's side, but it also exists on the woman's side, is that they are so naive in the reality of their situation, and then they come to the internet and they spin these webs of lies and stories and don't actually live their lives. This woman moved fast in the relationship and then came to the internet and bragged as if it was something, you know, good to be talked about how fast they moved.
Swear guys, when I met Landon, immediately I thought I would want to a family with this guy. And he also told me immediately when we hanged out in Santorini, I knew you were gonna be my wife. He's like, I became so protective over you already because I knew this is my wife immediately when I saw you.
And I literally told her within 36 hours, I was like, look, this is gonna sound like a lot and I'm sorry because I know it's weird, but I know I'm supposed to marry you.
Now, I know somebody's going to be in my comments talking about societal pressures, her being 26-year-old. Look, I don't care about none of that. How are you, as a self-proclaimed coach for the young woman, getting love bombed so fast, so hard, and so aggressively that you fall for this nonsense, but then come back to the internet and spew your rhetoric about confidence and being secure and all these other things like that? To me, it's just a walking contradiction, but that's why I also have her in that red pill category, because this is so reminiscent of all the other red pill guys, you know, Walter and Sneeko and all those other people, but just for women. Another hallmark of being a red pill content creator, along with the hypocrisy between your real life and what you're putting on the internet, is also just giving very, very, very bad advice for young women to listen to.
I know that you guys need my help. That's why I'm here. If you are already in a relationship and your partner, he didn't spoil you yet and you want him to start spoiling you, just tell him, like, I really would appreciate it if you gave me some money, like an allowance. And with my mom, her ex-husband, he knew if he worked or if he didn't work, she would still continue to provide and stay because of the children. I need women to understand that men will say they want good women, but good women never get rewarded. It's always like, oh, I want a day one girl. I want a girl that has been there from the beginning. But those women get literally later on cheated on.
You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. God, she sounds like Myron right now. Now she is getting into her Myron bag. She's literally telling women to be children, ask for allowances, but then talking about how good women get cheated on as well. Listen. And when I tell y'all this totally goes under the radar because of the aesthetic that she's giving off in her videos. I mean, her videos get millions upon millions of views. Low lift, no editing, just soft talking to an iPhone about how good girls get cheated on and women should ask for allowances. Now, I'm not necessarily blaming Liz for what happened to herself. She got cheated on ultimately. But what I am saying is that I find it so strange and so weird that these people get online and are so gung-ho about giving advice, you know, are so ready to be upfront, ready to teach women how to be more confident, even though they're getting lip fillers and other injections and Botox and all this plastic surgery. How to get the perfect man that they want, even though if we watch that full video that Liz put out where she was talking about Q&A with her husband, that guy was clearly psychotic. And then how they're talking about how you can get in the most perfect relationship possible while whole time being with a narcissist cheater.
I am living in this country. My partner is this person. My partner spoils me and buys me everything I want. I am a successful YouTuber. I wrote everything that I wanted down as if it was happening right now. 1 year later, I'm living exactly the life that I wrote down.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but you never wrote anything about how your partner is supportive, how your partner cares for you, how they are as a parent, how they are as an actual partner as opposed to a bank account. So it's no wonder why you get cheated on, because you are so worried about your partner's finances and what they can do for you financially. You're not worried about yourself, or you're not worried about if they're cheating, if they're abusive, if there are all other things that matter. Like, what's their personality like? And this is what they are teaching these women, is to look at other men as objects, which sounds like the rhetoric that Byron and Walter use on Fresh and Fit. Look, that's why I'm saying it's all one and the same. Something I fail to understand about these women, you know, the one that live like this in real life, is that why do they think that they're the only ones that are treating their man in the relationship as an object and their man isn't treating them as an object? And it's funny because when they do get cheated on, they get super upset about it. But in reality, you were using him and he was using you. So what's the difference? And just like in the men's red pill community, I always wonder what the actual audience looks like and what they take from and interpret from this stuff. So when I found out that there are women out there that are treating the Wizard Liz as some sort of gospel, I actually had to get shocked. There's this blog post about how this person views the Wizard Liz and how she interprets them. And honestly, it's scary. There are a lot more personal growth and lifestyle influencers out there, but so far, these are the best self-improvement YouTube channels that I regularly watch and highly suggest to you. Talking about Wizard Liz and a couple other people, but mainly Wizard Liz. These are the channels I like to binge watch whenever I'm about to eat my meals, you know? Nothing wrong with that, but as we get deeper, it gets crazier. Watching their videos literally changed my life, and so sharing their platforms with you is the best thing I could do for them. Actually, these women are the ones who gave me the idea to start this blog. When I hit rock bottom in the middle of 22, I found comfort and peace in their pep talk videos. They became my lifeline. These YouTubers became more than simply figures on my screen for me. They became big sisters and internet best friends who helped me get out of a rut. It was through this experience that I felt compelled to be the guiding light for others in need, just as I once was. What? These are women who have insecurities and are shit-talking men in relationships left, right, and sideways. Hell, they're shit-talking you, but you just feel like that's the thing that you need in that moment of weakness. Literally, these women are getting cheated on. Like, why are these your lifeline? Why are these your besties? Why are these your big sisters? They don't know you. That was such a weird statement.
Are you no longer attracted to men?
No, I'm a sapiosexual and I'm a demisexual. I need a deep emotional connection and I need someone who is intelligent. Men are incapable of both of those things. I have outgrown the quote unquote intelligence of a male because their intelligence that I perceived as intelligence is no longer intelligence.
Most husbands hate their wives. They do. I danced for 4 years. I stripped for 4 years. I danced from 2011 to 2015. I know everything there is to know about men, okay? I've never been naive to the bullshit. I found out male nature for what it was at 19 years old. Never been married before. Don't want to ever be married. Don't ever want to have children.
So you found out about male nature at 19 years old through a strip club, and that's how you came to the conclusion that all men hate their wives. And then the other lady said that she's not attracted to men because men have perceived intelligence. This is women's self-help that is on the internet, and I promise you, I hate playing this card. If the roles were reversed, people would be saying that this is not good content. This is bad content. Take away the mics, take away the platform, etc., etc. I don't know how you can say all men hate their wives from the perspective of being at a strip club. That's low-key like saying, oh, I work at a casino. Everybody has a gambling addiction. Duh. Now, I have no problem with any conversation about the dating plights or why are men more lonely, why are women more lonely, why aren't people coming together in union, etc., when it's all introducing nuance to the conversation. But a lot of these people become hyperbolic, you know, they take their one story, conflate it to this big old thing and put it everywhere, and anybody's supposed to consume it. And then what happens is you get a generation of losers who internalize all of this messaging.
In case you forgot that men are awful, I posted a video about what the girlies are gonna do if we ever hit an apocalyptic situation and like life's never going back to normal. And there are currently almost 7,000 comments of women saying that they would themselves rather than deal with the men out in the world because they know that they would be abused, used, and discarded. Not to mention all the girlies in the comments saying that they would make sure their body was burned, disposed of, like mangled beyond recognition, because even death will not stop men from using our bodies against our will.
So you talk about the kids that are in the classroom telling the young women that you need to be in the kitchen and you don't need to be leading something, you need to be cooking, and that women are just for sex or they're degenerates and blah, 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 they just want me for my money, which is all bad rhetoric. I take that in. I believe that that's true. But we don't talk about the other side of the spectrum when women start internalizing this conversation.
Whenever someone says, not all men cheat, I be looking at them feeling sorry for them. Like, you'll figure it out. Who cares if they cheat? Do they have money to give you? You can't depend on a man to make you happy anyway. You can just depend on them to make you have a better lifestyle and give you money, and that might make you happy.
You're a man and you don't like when women say, oh my god, I hate men, watch this video. A woman says, I hate men. That means because she's largely had negative experiences with men. But it's not all men. I know, but it's a lot, and the sentiment underlying that is we don't know which men are safe. So if you become reactive, you start yelling at us about how it's not all men and some men are good. Show us. Don't get defensive, just be there and listen to what we have to say, because trust me, you will be horrified by a lot of our experiences. If we find a man that we like, we will be loyal for as long as we possibly can. There will be no one to even cheat with. We don't like most men. We stay away from them because we feel unsafe.
So you get a generation of zero accountability for their action. All men are trash, you know, fake women empowerment, collective people who are looking up to people like the Wizard Liz and these other content creators. But the Wizard Liz is going through some of the same things, if not worse, than what you are going through in your real life. It's literally the same thing that I always talk about and these other content creators always talk about when it comes to Fresh and Fit, is that looking up to these people, saying that this is your lifeline, saying that this is your sister, only leads to dumb ass idolization of people who are ultimately losers or are living in a world of hypocrisy. Look, we never really talked about it, but the Wizard Liz got cheated on and it was totally avoidable.
He started DMing a girl on Snapchat who was apparently fans of Liz.
Oh shit.
So here's a conversation. He goes, are you in Dallas? She's like, yeah, why? I was just wondering who all I know is still here. I just got back from London in NYC Tuesday, then back in Dallas for a week. Do you have plans? And she says, aren't you married? He says, no, plus just looking for friends. And then she goes, since when aren't you married? He's technically engaged, but you know.
So he was not lying.
Stop.
Yeah, well, it's complicated long distance internet thing, but I'm not married. Not a normal life for sure. So your whole relationship is fake? No, it's not, but I'm not married. That part is not real. What does that even mean? Yeah, haha, do you want to see me? I can tell you in person. I don't want to hang out with married men, and I saw you wearing a wedding ring. Well, that's not fair, but no, not married. And then she screenshotted him with the ring, I guess. Oh, God, that's a warrant for the video, but never mind, it's complicated. Explain. No, haha, never mind. I told you it's complicated. Not legally married, maybe will be. Oof. You're engaged to somebody who's saying maybe will be to random women. He's a piece of shit for what he did. Let's not even absolve him. There's no reason for him to cheat with this dynamic, especially getting a woman pregnant. You're a dumbass.
Look, Wizard Liz ain't nobody to be listening to, and as far as I'm concerned, the red pill pipeline extends all the way to to the women's side. It's not something that's just on the male side, but it's something that's not talked about because it is socially more acceptable to say that you hate men, this, that, and the third, but also pushing nasty ass rhetoric that can be detrimental to a young woman's health and development as well. These are the things that need to be nipped in the bud. I tell people all the time, online advice is not something that people should be looking towards. Like, I'm talking about true self-help, true improvement. Get somebody that is actually in your real life, that can take into consideration your real feelings, your real situations, your real emotions, and potentially help you change. Live life, you know, go through it. But when you put these people up on this pedestal and then they go through the same bullshit that you was going through, ultimately you look silly.